The rain pattered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of Leonard Graves' sleek penthouse, a modern fortress of glass and steel perched high above Seattle's bustling streets. It was a dreary afternoon, the kind that seeped into the bones, and Leonard stepped inside, his navy suit drenched from the downpour, his leather briefcase heavy in his grip. The usual silence of the expansive space greeted him, or so he thought. Then, cutting through the hum of the city below, came a sound that stopped him cold, high-pitched, breathless giggles. Laughter. Real, unguarded laughter. He hadn't heard it in years, not since his wife's warm voice filled these rooms, and certainly not from his son, Elliot. Leonard set his briefcase down slowly, his polished shoes leaving wet prints on the hardwood floor as he moved toward the living room. There, bathed in the soft glow of a crystal chandelier, was a sight that stole his breath. His 3-year-old son, Elliot, a fragile boy with pale skin and tousled blonde hair, stood balanced on someone's feet, his thin legs trembling but straight, his face alight with joy. Beneath him lay Amara, the new maid, a young black woman with a quiet presence and a gentle smile. Her dark hair was swept back with a white headband, strands escaping as she shifted her jeans-clad legs to steady Elliot like a makeshift airplane. Her laughter mingled with his, a melody of trust and playfulness that filled the room. Leonard's heart stuttered. This wasn't the sterile precision of physical therapy or the clinical notes from specialists. This was something raw, something alive. Amara lowered Elliot gently, rolling him off her legs and onto the plush rug. Then, with a steady hand, she helped him stand, not holding him, not guiding, just letting him find his balance. Elliot didn't fall. He stood, wobbly but upright, his blue eyes sparkling, his small chest rising with each giddy breath. Leonard's knees nearly buckled. Elliot, who hadn't taken a step in 3 years, who doctors had labeled capable but unwilling, was walking. The boy Leonard had nearly given up on was glowing with life. Amara glanced up, noticing Leonard in the doorway, her smile unwavering. "Hi," she said softly, as if greeting a friend, not her stern employer. "What? What is this?" Leonard's voice cracked, a mix of awe and disbelief. Elliot turned at the sound, his gaze locking onto his father. Then, with 3 tentative, wobbly steps, he crossed the room and stumbled into Leonard's arms. The briefcase hit the floor with a dull thud as Leonard dropped to his knees, catching his son before he could fall. Elliot's laughter rang out again, and Leonard's arms trembled as he held him close, tears prickling his eyes. "I don't understand," Leonard whispered, his voice thick with emotion. Amara rose, brushing her hands on her jeans. "You don't need to," she said gently. "Just hold him." Leonard stood, clutching Elliot tighter than he had in months, the boy's small body warm against his chest. The doctors had called it psychological, a barrier no amount of therapy could breach. Amara's approach was different. "He didn't need therapy," she said softly. "He needed play. He needed someone to be present." Leonard stared at her, his mind reeling. "How did you get him to trust you?" She tilted her head, her dark eyes thoughtful. "I didn't try to fix him. I listened. He showed me how to speak his language." Leonard's throat tightened as memories flooded back, endless therapists, clipped medical jargon, stacks of insurance forms, and the silent nursery he'd avoided for months. "I was trying to save him with money," he admitted, his voice low. Amara nodded. "He needed something free." They moved to the couch, Elliot curling into Leonard's chest, his breathing soft and even. "Why?" Leonard asked, his gaze searching her face. "Why did you care?" Amara hesitated, then sat across from him, her legs crossed. "I lost a child," she said simply. Leonard's breath caught. Not biologically mine. I was a live-in nanny for a boy named Jordan. He had Elliot's eyes, his fear of loud sounds, his silence. His parents didn't believe in patience. They fired me when I asked them to slow down. He died a year later in a hospital bed. Her voice wavered, but her gaze held steady. I wasn't there when he left. I've never forgiven myself for that. When I saw Elliot, I saw him. Leonard blinked back tears, his chest aching. I don't deserve this. Not this moment. Not his steps. Amara's expression softened. Maybe not. But he does. The rain outside softened to a drizzle, and inside, something in Leonard broke, not Elliot, but the steel wall he'd built around his heart, the CEO mask he'd worn for years. I haven't been a father, he whispered. Just a man in the same house. Amara's voice was gentle. You still have time. Elliot stirred, yawning and nestling closer. Leonard looked at Amara. You're not just a maid. She shrugged. I'm not trying to be anything. I didn't heal him, I helped him find himself. Leonard's voice cracked as he said, thank you. The first time those words had left his lips in 3 years, the next morning, the penthouse felt transformed. Sunlight streamed through the wide windows, and the scent of pancakes wafted from the kitchen where Amara hummed softly. But the real change was Leonard, still home in a crisp white shirt, sleeves rolled up, tie discarded, sitting on the rug with Elliot. The boy stacked blocks, wobbling forward to grab another, then fell. Leonard flinched, but Elliot pushed himself up, smiling. Try it again, Leonard murmured, his voice thick. Amara stood in the doorway, drying her hands on a towel. You look surprised, she said. I am, he admitted. I thought he was broken. She shook her head. He was never broken. Just waiting for someone to stop rushing. Leonard rose slowly. I rushed everything, his healing, his childhood, his grief. Amara handed him a toy dinosaur. You don't fix it. You stay and show up. That's it. He knelt beside Elliot, holding up the dinosaur. The boy took it, then crawled into Leonard's lap, curling up with trust. I can't believe I almost missed this, Leonard whispered. You didn't, Amara said softly. You're here now. A pause hung between them. Then Leonard turned to her. Will you stay? Amara raised an eyebrow. As his nanny? No, he said, serious now. As part of our lives. Her smile faded. I didn't take this job for forever. I know, he replied quickly. But you changed our forever. I'm not asking out of charity, I'm asking because you saw him, and maybe you saw me too. Amara looked at Elliot, then back at Leonard. If I stay, it's as someone who keeps you accountable, not just to Elliot, but to the man you want to be. Leonard nodded, tears brimming. Deal. She smiled. Then I'll stay. Elliot reached up, touching Leonard's face with a giggle. Leonard kissed his tiny hand, and in that quiet moment, a new family formed, not by blood or title, but by choice.